Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Game Changer. I'm Mariam Zia. In today's program, we will be talking about the brotherly relations between Pakistan and Uzbekistan. Of course, when we talk about these two countries, there are multifaceted areas of cooperation between Pakistan and Uzbekistan. But when we talk about the land that is Uzbekistan today, it was at the heart of ancient Silk Route, a trade route, and that connected China with Middle East and Rome. And then in the 19th century, Uzbekistan was under, of course, it came under Soviet occupation, and then in 1991, Uzbekistan got independence. And since then, both countries, Pakistan and Uzbekistan, have maintained good relations. In today's program, we will be talking about these multifaceted relations between Pakistan and Uzbekistan. When we talk about Pakistan, of course, Pakistan provides the shortest and most economical route to the Arabian Sea, to the Central Asian states, specifically to Uzbekistan. And of course, we know that recently both countries signed $1 billion trade agreement, and both are looking forward to enhancing the trade volume. We will be talking about what are the challenges when we talk about the economic ties between both the countries, and what are the future prospects, and what is the potential. And of course, we will also be touching upon the recently announced Uzbekistan, Pakistan, Afghanistan railway project, what it means for the region. Of course, this is poised as a game changer for Pakistan and for this region as well. To discuss this, we are honored and privileged to have been joined in the studios by His Excellency Mr. Abik Arif Osmanov, who is Ambassador of Uzbekistan to Pakistan. Welcome to the program. Thank you very much for your time. And we're also joined by expert in international affairs, Dr. Zia Shamsi. Welcome to the program. So let me start with you, Your Excellency. Of course, we know that this is your third posting in Pakistan. Tell us about some of the similarities that you find between Pakistan and Uzbekistan, and also how have you seen the relations between both countries have evolved over these years?
With your permission. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, thank you, Ms. Maria Zia, for inviting me, and to all PTV team, brotherly team, for inviting me for that program. You already mentioned that I'm here for the third time, so I have a good opportunity now to say you that actually there is no similarity. It's with just one nation, maybe speaking two languages.
Right.
Because if I will just recall you what is the closeness between our Uzbekistan and Pakistan. So historically, from the old seas, from the old times, from the thousand centuries years, we are bounded with one history, with one religion, alhamdulillah, with the same traditions. There is, just to say you that there is a 40,000 common words in Urdu and Uzbek language. You will be really amazing. And of course, the ties between Fergana, Samarkand, and Bukhara, and Tashkent, and Al-Kharazm, with such cities like Peshawar, Lahore, Karachi, Multan, Bahawalpur, and Sialkot, Sargot, and others. They are so intricable, so you may just say that actually it was an unfortunate that some period of time we've been disconnected from each other. So now what I feel is, what I'm happy and I'm proud to be as a humble servant of our two countries' process of reconnectivity. You mentioned the connectivity projects, but what we're calling it as the reconnectivity. I'm sure that my colleagues, experts, they may also join in this my sentence that we are now trying to come back again, to use that Silk Road, which you already mentioned, to use that existing one. And so in this way, we are in each and every term which I was serving as the humble servant of that connectivity and reconnectivity, each one term was heralded with the new projects which brought us closer, as closer as we could do it, using that geopolitical, geo-economical environment. And of course, my term was dedicated to find the win-win solutions for our two countries. You already mentioned that partnership. May I just tell you that I am proud to be a part of the team of my president who visited your great capital, Islamabad, in President Shavkat Mirziyoyev, who visited your great capital in March 2022 when we established the strategical partnership. Definitely my colleagues and my friends and the audience, they do understand what doesn't mean the strategical partnership. It's mean the full confidence on political dialogue.
Of course.
It's a diversification of trade, economy, investment. It's exchange of the technologies, sciences. It's exchange of the human resources. I'm so happy to say that how big is the difference between the numbers of the businessmen who've been visiting Pakistan, from Pakistan, Uzbekistan, and from Uzbekistan to Pakistan. Just if in the last 3 years we have doubled the number of the businessmen, which is a very joyful fact to say that when we've been just hosting maybe 1,500 in 2021 when I came for the third time. We are now giving the visas more than 5,000 businessmen from Pakistan. And of course, I'm happy that as new projects are coming. If we've been before discussing only about agriculture and cotton,
right.
Now we are discussing pharmaceutical. When I'm saying discussing, it means that we are opening the new joint ventures. Right. The number, for example, of that joint ventures has been increased for the last 3 years from 140 joint ventures between Pakistan and Uzbekistan to 250 joint ventures. And if, as I said, we've been only focusing mostly on the cotton, agricultural, now we are speaking about pharmaceutical, now we are speaking about textile clusters and ready-made
right.
textiles. We already get rid of that raw material trade exchange. We are now exchanging the ready-made textiles. We are now already created in Uzbekistan more than 5 textile factories.
Right.
And other than this, many Pakistani specialists, experts are traveling to Uzbekistan, and then Uzbek specialists and experts coming to Pakistan to exchange the technologies. So now we are speaking about agricultural machinery, now we are working on the chemical industry, now we are working on the housing and construction and electrotechnical goods. And of course the humanitarian aspect is very important as the people to people, and
right,
of course
right.
the education.
Right, of course. So let's talk about what are some of the recent developments or initiatives that have significantly enhanced Pakistan's relations with Uzbekistan. Of course, there were some geopolitical factors or the dynamics that maybe didn't let both countries, reach to their true potential. But what are some of the recent agreements or MOUs between both the countries?
So as the integral part of the connectivity and reconnectivity projects, first of all, we discussed, our leaders has agreed on that enhancing and diversification of trade, which we already have mentioned. You mentioned about 1 billion roadmap,
yes.
which has been signed during the last joint ministerial commission. Yes. Then, of course, it's transport and logistic connectivity between our countries. For that one, we have introduced for Pakistani businessmen and Afghan businessmen, since Afghanistan is the very middle of our way. It's our immediate neighbor to you and to Uzbekistan, to Pakistan and Uzbekistan. And for that, we have introduced, we have presented by initiative of my president, International Cargo Center, in Termez city, which is bordering with Afghanistan, from where all goods are coming to Pakistan. So international cargo center will be just not only for the traders, but it will be for transport companies. It's used now by as the venue for the customs authorities to find the hurdles which are preventing of that diversification. So then we're coming on to the very important game changer project. Yes. The game changer is actually not mine inventor. It was said by the Pakistani government and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Pakistan and the State Minister of Pakistan, who said that this is a real game changer project, and it is that, because it's the first time in the history when our people would be not just by the air or road connectivity, but the railway. Because what we will do, it's a territory of Pakistan, it's only Afghanistan. The length of the route via Afghanistan, it's only 670 kilometers. Yeah,
760.
670 kilometers, 77 actually kilometers. But now, for example, the commodity goods by road goes from Karachi to Tashkent. Yes. From Karachi to Tashkent, it takes as a 2-3 weeks. So now, if we will start, inshallah, that railway connectivity, then it would be only 3-4 days to get from Tashkent, from the center of Uzbekistan, to the Karachi and Karachi ports, or Qasim port or Gwadar ports of that. And then the cost, which is most important factor, is that 50% less than it would be by the road. And of course, when we have a railway, there would be a very good opportunity to have uninterrupted transportation because of some geopolitical and geoeconomic and sometimes security factors and aspects that unfortunately comes time to time.
I want to talk about that as well. Of course, this is a significant project when we talk about Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan railway. But of course, we know that a situation and unstable situation in Afghanistan remains a factor and a challenge. And we also know that recently Chief of Army Staff Syed Asim Munir also visited Uzbekistan. So can you tell us about some of the significant discussions that were carried on about the situation, security situation specifically between both the countries, and also were there any discussions about both countries working together for the prosperity or maybe peace in Afghanistan as well? Because we know that Uzbekistan also played a significant role in 2016 in bringing Afghan Taliban to the table as well.
So first of all, let me stress that the political dialogue between our two countries now based on the strategical partnership.
Yes, and this is important. This opens new avenues between both the countries.
It's uninterrupted. It's a dynamic dialogue.
Yes.
Confident political dialogue between our two countries, as well as the military, as well as the civil government to government and military to military, army to army. You just mentioned Asim Munir Sahab, but before Asim Munir Sahab, Chief Minister of Punjab, Saeed Mohsen Naqvi Sahab, with the caretaker Minister of Trade, Industry and Production, Gauhar Ijaz Sahab, Dr. Gauhar Ijaz Sahab, visited Uzbekistan. And before that, I'm proud to tell you, as I, for example, mentioned the visit of my president, that after visit of my president, we had at least 100 governmental delegations to Uzbekistan, more than 100 delegations. So it gives you the good picture that how broad and how, as you said, multifaceted relations are there. So when we say about the B2B connectivity, when we say about trade and economy, it is very important now that all pillars of the power would be on the same page from both sides of the country. So that's why it's not a surprise that when the Chief of Staff, Honorable General Asim Munir Sahab visited because when the chief of staff during the tenure of General Bajwa, we had, alhamdulillah, the same way of the connection and interaction between our leaders, government to government and army to army. So we are, after such meetings, when they are coming and going to each other, we are now focusing on the new drivers of the growth in economy. We are looking for the new ventures. We are agreeing on the new directions. We are working on that hurdles or maybe some issues or problems which are preventing for the enhancement of our cooperation. So these meetings are very important since they are giving a good impulse. They're putting a good input for the all structures in the government. So there's a continuation of the visit of meetings of former Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif Saab when he met in Samarkand during the ACO summit with my president Shaukat Mirziyoyev, and then immediately after that they met in Astana in other international forums. We've been trying to keep that very active and dynamic relations. So it's regardless of if we have our election or parliamentary or government election, or you have election of parliament or caretaker government. Important message was by this political dialogue and confidence that our continuity, there would be longevity, there would be continuation of our strategical partnership. This is very most important one, because immediately after that last visits, my president Shaukat Mirziyoyev now instructed us to arrange the meeting of the deputy prime minister on the trade, economy and industry.
Right.
And our deputy prime minister, who is the number 3 essentially after the prime minister, he will be visiting with the businessman, with the government official, to meet their Pakistani counterparts very soon, to discuss the implementation of that projects that they have defined as soon as we established our strategical partnership.
Of course, and you mentioned about your president, and of course his policies are looking towards South Asia, and this is going to open new dynamics when we talk about economic ties between the two countries. We will be discussing more about it. But Dr. Shamsi, of course, we have Honorable Ambassador with us. Let's talk about Pakistan's Central Asia policy and how does it aligns its bilateral ties with Uzbekistan, and what are some of the challenges that you would like, of course, Honorable Ambassador over here to address?
Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you for inviting me over. Along with Excellency, it's a privilege for me to be sharing the screen with him. Thank you, sir.
Honor
since he has already covered everything, this is his third tenure and he has everything on his fingertips, and he is, mashallah, elaborated everything. So now my job is little more challenging.
Of course. So
and
I have to go into the Central Asia.
No. I have to go into the areas which he has perhaps left it for me. Okay. Let me first connect Uzbekistan with Pakistan historically. Uzbekistan sent us first Mughal Emperor Babur.
Yes.
So the history dates back to something like 14th century. Okay, number one. Number two.
After Amir Taimur.
Number two, Tashkent, the capital city and the largest city, hosted President Ayub and Prime Minister Shastri
65
to conclude the 65 war. So we know Uzbekistan ever since, I mean, well before 91 when it got independence. And that is the kind of relationship, historical, cultural, religious, ideological, and all encompassing relationship between people to people, government to government, even when it was part of the Soviet Union. So that is the most important aspect.
Correct.
Secondly, it's a very dynamic country with a very difficult geography.
Double landlocked.
It is doubly landlocked.
Yes.
And as we were talking about Afghan route, Uzbekistan is landlocked, neighboring Afghanistan, that is also landlocked. So it's very challenging. But Allah Ta'ala has blessed this land with abundance of natural resources. Come to gold first, 7th largest. They do the mining of something like 80 tons annually. Copper, 10th largest. Uranium, 12th largest. And ever since independence of 91, breaking away from the Soviet Union, the initial government of Nazarbayev and now Karimov and now Shaukat Mirziyoyev, they are focusing on to exploitation of the natural resources available within the geographical bounds of Uzbekistan to develop itself and emerge out of the shackles of the historical past of Soviet Union. That is the significance. Now coming back to your question, about the Pakistan's relations into Central Asia. Central Asian republics, when they got independence in 91, Pakistan was the first country which recognized most of these states and tried to make inroads. However, unfortunately for us, we did not have political stability during that decade, the entire decade of 90s, and that is why we call it a lost decade. We lost it. And then 2001 happened and Afghanistan went into second war, and we could not make that progress which we had wanted and which was desirable for the government of Pakistan and for the people of Pakistan and for the people of Uzbekistan and the government of Uzbekistan. So that is the lost period now. But as the Excellency said, that we are trying to reconnect, and this reconnection is happening at a very, very fast pace. And as Excellency said that at one time they were issuing 1500 visas, now they are issuing 5000 visas, isn't it? More than 100 delegations, official delegations, have gone into, including Chief of Army Staff and other senior leaders. What I am coming at is that Uzbekistan needs Pakistan and Pakistan needs Uzbekistan.
Right, of course.
Perhaps because we need energy and Uzbekistan is the largest electricity producer in Central Asia. It has the largest military of Central Asia.
LNG we already started.
LNG, the hydrocarbons are in abundance, especially in the south. So the distance reduces because it is available in the south. Okay, we are making headways. We want to forget about the lost decade. Okay, and there are so many opportunities. There are so many opportunities that can be exploited and the connectivity can be made. Through your good office, Excellency, may I suggest that Pakistan government officially invites Uzbekistan to join the CPEC, because that is one program that will help Uzbekistan to quickly reach the warm waters of Arabian Sea.
Right.
Because Uzbekistan is a member of SCO.
Of course.
It is a member of CIS, it is a member of UN, and it is a member of all the regional organizations. So if they actively join CPEC, it will help increase the rate of this reconnectivity at a much faster rate.
Of course, this is a very significant suggestion, but Your Excellency, I want to talk about, of course, the 100 days agenda that was presented by President of Uzbekistan, Mr. Shaukat Mirziyoyev. This is very important. Of course, he also introduced the strategy New Uzbekistan, and of course, we know that Uzbekistan has been making progress by leaps and bounds. But when we talk about challenges, there are some challenges as well that we have witnessed as a result of the recent Western sanctions that most of the Central Asian states are facing due to, trading difficulties with their traditional partner Russia. Can you tell us about that and how Uzbekistan is navigating all this?
Thank you very much for this good question. Before going to that question, let me just say you that connectivity strategy of my president, because this connectivity of South Asia, Central Asia, first of all, is a brainchild of my president.
Of course, New Uzbekistan was presented by him.
In June 21, we invited the governments of Pakistan, Afghanistan, and 55 countries more. I'm giving you these details because it's very important that by somehow that strategy of connectivity they have envisaged by the Uzbekistan. It helped a lot. First of all, before geopolitical environment changes, the conflicts that which we are going in the far countries and the close countries for our region, before that, we've been hit by the COVID situation when it was the disruption of the trade, channels, transport, logistics, people to people, all kind, we know that. So that connectivity that we started that time, they have alhamdulillah helped us to overcome many issues of that. Glad to tell you that even that during this COVID period, the trade with Pakistan was anyway annually growing by the 40, 45, 50% annually. So let me say that even we are still facing the post-COVID difficulties, but let me give you the record that from 2015, when we had only 40 or 50 million US dollars in trade, 21 we have registered 120, 222 we have registered already 180 million, and the only this year 6 months we are already past 200 million trade, which gives us a very good potential to increase it to 1 billion inshallah in 2 years. So what I'm saying is that this connectivity that we started with the South Asia, with the Asia Pacific, with the Gulf countries, they have helped a lot. For example, what would be also the helpful, and I'm coming slowly but surely to the CPEC project. When we, the same way on the 21, we have agreed with the governments of China and Kyrgyzstan, neighboring Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan, the country which is in the middle between China and Uzbekistan. We agreed with them with a very important and strategical railway which already started, the construction of which already started. So this now from China goods through Kyrgyzstan to Uzbekistan may reach just in 350 kilometers, but before it was 1,200 kilometers bypassing this country. Now we started this one. So you see, when the China comes through Kyrgyzstan to Uzbekistan, it means that they already in Termez. It means that from Termez, this China, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan railway would be the integral part of the CPEC projects which we are starting from here. Good news is that last meetings between government of China, Pakistan and Afghanistan, that they agreed that the CPEC project may also be extended. We hope it would be much faster to Afghanistan. So it means that if railway from China and Kyrgyzstan comes to Uzbekistan and Termez city, so this railway will go directly via Afghanistan to the Kipay, to Sindh, Punjab, provinces
Right.
of Pakistan. We already, as soon as my president Shaukat Mirziyoyev took the office in the 7 years back, we have already diversified our financial, first of all, banking cooperation, trade and industrial cooperation. You see, it does not mean that Uzbekistan being a neighbor country to Kazakhstan or after that to Russia, we are only confined to that one country. No, alhamdulillah that we have diversified trade and investment and industrial cooperation with other countries. So by this it means that COVID situation, which gave Uzbekistan a very good impetus and input on diversifying, then we, during that geopolitical changes in our region, we could craft and manage our economy. So I'm just telling you that GDP, which was on 5.5%, it's also continuing it for the last 3 years. For the next year, we are even planning to have 6.5 GDPs. So then I give you the figures of the trade. And with this calculation, you will understand that it was not such a big impact. We are doubled from 20 billion to up to 40 billion our exports.
Which is significant,
Which
of
is
course.
very
And this is the result of the open trade policies and diversification of trade.
Liberalization, diversification of trade, going not only to the west or east on other parts, but to go to many directions and dimensions. We have with the Asia Pacific, we have with the Middle East, we have with the African countries. You may be surprised that Syria, Iraq, Marrakesh, Lebanon, they are also our partners. I'm not saying about Egypt, Iraq, I was not saying about Saudi Arabia and Emirates and Qatar and Kuwait. Then important was also to use the technological and investment projects, because alhamdulillah investment, they have not been hit by any sanctions or even with the change of the currency. When you have the investment, you may bring it by currency, you may bring it by the equipment, you can bring it by technology. So I'm saying about the investment, which has been also the volume of investment also been doubled from the 12 billion 3-4 years back to 25 billion for the last 2022, and we hope that this year it will be even bigger than 25 billion investment income to Uzbekistan. So I do not I cannot tell you that there is some damage.
Of course, this is all because of the policies of the President of Uzbekistan. So lastly, I would like you to ask you to say a message for people of Pakistan and Uzbekistan about the exciting prospects of bilateral ties between both countries.
Alhamdulillah, based on that historical, religious, cultural and closeness which we have, we are having a very huge and big potential on that, first of all, on the trade and economic, secondly on the transport and logistic, thirdly on the technologies. You may be surprised that we now started our R&D on the selection of cotton, for example. This is scientific cooperation. Then most fascinating, you maybe do not know, but my listeners should know that we are now hosting 1,500 students, 1,500 students from Pakistan who are getting the medical education in our medical institutions in 5 or 6 cities of Uzbekistan, Andijan, Samarkand, Fergana and others. So these students cooperation, this education cooperation would be growing. And of course we are trying to use the opportunity between our science and technology and ministries and entities to use that exchange of technologies. So I already mentioned that how many experts in textile industry and chemical industry, they are going from Pakistan to Uzbekistan and vice versa, our specialists coming to that. So with this perspective of that enhancing the people to people, business to business, government to government, I am confident inshallah that our potential will be used for the win-win solutions.
Inshallah, for the win-win solution. Thank you very much, Ambassador of Uzbekistan to Pakistan, His Excellency Abek Arif Osmanov, for giving us time and joining us in the studios today. Of course, we were joined by of course, Ambassador of Uzbekistan, and we will be taking a short break here, and when we come back, we'll be exploring more about the bilateral relations between Pakistan and Uzbekistan. Welcome back. We are talking about Pakistan's relations with Uzbekistan, and to discuss more about it, we are joined by Mr. Shehjar Khan, who is expert in international affairs. Welcome to the program. And we are also joined online by Dr. Hussain Javed, who is economist and expert in international affairs. Welcome to the program. So, Mr. Shehjar, of course, we were in conversation with the ambassador of Uzbekistan to Pakistan, and we covered multifaceted aspects of relations between both the countries. So let's conclude this discussion. Both countries are in very strategic locations within their regions. What do you think that both countries need to do, specifically when we talk about the multilateral cooperation, SCO, ECO, to enhance the ties and to work about the stability in the region?
So, Mariam, the geopolitical situation and the location that you're talking about, that is very interesting, especially in the case of Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan is a double landlocked country, one of the only two in the world. Double landlocked countries, like surrounded by countries which are also landlocked.
Yes, so you have to pass to Afghanistan, then you have to go to
and Uzbekistan. All five sides is surrounded by landlocked countries.
Yes.
Very interesting dynamics. Historically, Uzbekistan has been like very dependent on Russia to basically export its products to Europe and like the Western
So we have already talked to the ambassador.
So now this is a golden opportunity for Pakistan to basically make use of this alternative route that Pakistan can provide to Uzbekistan through the southern corridor, through Afghanistan, and basically develop these bilateral relations in terms of economics, in terms of trade, in terms of transit trade as well. And now, like the other option is there. The other option is the Bandar Abbas port of Iran. But due to the heavy international sanctions on Iran, Pakistan has this opportunity to develop these linkages. We have a preferential trade agreement with Uzbekistan. We also have a transit trade agreement with Uzbekistan. And I think like this situation with Uzbekistan's presence in the SCO, ECO, this situation is ripe to develop Pakistan's linkages in Central Asia. Central Asia is a region which is full of natural resources. It has LNG, it has oil. Once this transit railway system develops, both countries will basically be able to prosper and develop linkages which are much needed for the economic development of both countries.
Of course, and Dr. Sand, of course, we have covered all the aspects of bilateral ties between both the countries, and we've touched upon the multilateral organizations as well. Lastly, tell us what are some of the challenges that both countries need to address to enhance the bilateral relations and, of course, to reach the target of $1 billion trade between both the countries?
See, it is very much clear. Of course, the new era of strategic partnership that was been announced by the Uzbekistan, and now they are moving to the $1 billion. And now the trade perspective has been changed. Now it was initially it was with the Russia 17.9, China with the 17.7, Kazakhstan with the 9.3, Turkey is with 8.1, and South Korea is 4.5. So now with the preferential trade agreement and the new era of the strategic partner also focus on the economic integration, which is and also covering the defense and the railway, which you know already that the Mazar Sharif Kabul Peshawar railway it is also very much important. So we have to enhance this agreement under the IGC meeting and under the external agreement and PTA, what we call the Pak-Uzbek Preferential Trade Agreement. We must have to focus also on the Pakistan-Uzbek Transit Trade Agreement, which we call it AUPTT. So these are very important. And lastly, I would comment on the future meetings must likely to have the target oriented, which must be enhanced. More than that, because the oil and it is the Uzbekistan is lucrative in terms of oil trade, agriculture, cement, and other important protocols, which is Portland cement is also very much important. So there are many multifaceted areas where we can target, and the most important is the Pakistan-Uzbek Intergovernmental Commission (IGC) on the trade, economic, and scientific technical cooperation that must be held very soon, and these meetings will further execute and expedite in the trade preferential matters.
Right. Thank you very much for your input, Dr. Hussain Javed. Thank you very much, Mr. Shehjar Khan, for joining us in today's program and for your valuable inputs. Of course, in today's program, we talked about the evolving relations between Pakistan and Uzbekistan. And of course, like His Excellency, Ambassador of Uzbekistan to Pakistan pointed out that this is reconnectivity between both the countries, and this is significant not only for both the countries, but for the region as well. And when we talk about the trade volume, of course, both countries are working towards achieving this $1 billion trade between both the countries. And of course, when we talk about Pakistan, Uzbekistan and Afghanistan railway project, this is also an initiative that is going to bring a change in the region and is going to be a game changer for the region and bring prosperity in the region. That's all from Game Changer tonight. Take care. Allah Hafiz.